Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to the episode of my F1 2018 career mode, episode number 145 today for the Mexican Grand Prix in Season 7. If you guys did miss the previous one, then be sure to go check that one out before you see this one. Quite a crucial race at the USA Grand Prix. But heading to Mexico, well, basically another crucial one because Brazil, the next episode, is going to be very, very tough. Historically, it's been a really tough one against AI, so this is a chance to maybe do the best job we can at limiting damage, maybe even trying to, extend that lead we have in the championship. Spoiler alert, obviously at USA we did a fantastic job. It was a bonkers race with our teammate Leclerc also getting right in there and helping us out in the way in the end of it by defending against Gasly, and we got the race win, and Gasly ended up having to actually use front wing damage. Some of you eagle-eyed viewers noticed there that sent Pierre down the grid, and so we got the lead of the championship now, and so we have a chance to maybe extend it right before what is going to be a very tough Brazilian Grand Prix, where I think most likely we'll probably end up dropping points. I don't really, unless Gasly has car issues or crashes out the Grand Prix, I don't imagine beating Gasly at Brazil, because I think that Red Bull car is going to be very good around there, and just as a general rule of thumb, I'm not that great against AI around Brazil, whereas Mexico I have a much better chance of doing so. So this is the race where I'm really keen to try and get out ahead of Gasly if we can, before we're going to have a very tough Sao Paulo race ahead of us. So we have a bit of a tough start though, because it's raining in Q1, so I had to do a total of 3 or 4 flying laps in Q1 to make sure we actually got through there, because of course the simulation kind of annoyance and glitch in qualifying gets even worse basically in the wet conditions. So doing a lot of laps to make sure we get through into Q2. In the end of it, from P8 we go up into P2, and it's actually Gasly and myself in 1 and 2 as we go into Q2, so quite fitting actually, as the two championship rivals going into this weekend are there in Q1. Leclerc way down the order, but he makes it through into Q2 thankfully, and by the time we get through to Q2, it's now all dry. We're onto hypersofts. It's still very overcast, so as we go on through Q2 and Q3, maybe the sun will creep out and the track will get faster and faster, so definitely there might be some track evolution to watch out for. So we do a few laps in Q2 as well, going for a second run. This is at the end of the session. At the moment we're only down in P15, so we have to make this one count if we want to get into the top 10 shootout here. And so we go through the last 2 corners then and gain a heap of time on the exit of the curb and across the line. Hopefully this will be catapulting us into the top 10. We actually go fastest of all as we cross the line, then we fade to black and come back to P6. So quite an F1 game thing, but I was quite happy with P1 there, and then by the time the screen loads for the actual full standings, we're down to P6. But at least we made it in, and we actually matched Leclerc quite well there, so at least there's that. But for a moment, brief moment, I thought, hang on, do we actually have a lot of pace here to maybe right at the sharp end? But alas, probably not, as we now go into Q3 now, back down to reality. But we have 2 sets of hypersofts to burn, fresh sets of hypers I should say, because obviously in Q1 we didn't use any hypers because it was raining intermediate, so that's the only kind of positive thing from Q1 being wet. And so we go through to our second fly lap. Unfortunately though, actually in the red here, only just get green on the exit here. As we go through the last few corners, we're going to just be marginally up on our time. Right now we're down in P6, and across the line it won't be an improvement of much time really, and position wise we're still in P6. Leclerc finishes up in P8. Gasly, our rival and championship rival, is in second place, then Hamilton on pole, and so we've got some work to do at Mexico. But obviously it's a long pit straight, really long pit straight, so there'll be chances maybe to make some overtakes, and Mexico is always a rather tricky one for tyre wear and the race strategy, and also traffic really, because of the way sector 2 and 3 is in the stadium section, so we'll watch out for that as well. Let's go to the grid and just try to make the most of it. Remember though, we come into this with a championship lead, so we can't be too disappointed with that, and let's just make the most of it here when we go to race day.
Formula One may have been absent from Mexico for 23 years, but after 2015's triumphant return, it was as if we'd never been away. In Mexico, a Grand Prix is more than just a race. It's a celebration of speed and of bravery. There's nothing quite like the atmosphere in the stadium today. They'll be drowning out the cars with their noise as they make their way through on lap 1. At 2,285 metres above sea level, the thin air of the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez poses a unique challenge, not just to a driver's skill, but to the efficiency of their engines as well. 17 corners make up a lap of this 2.6-mile circuit, and you can expect incredible speeds in excess of 220 miles per hour, and overtaking too, into the hard braking zones of turns 1 and turn 4. Anthony Davidson joins me again for the race today. Let's talk briefly about Lewis Hamilton. They've had to change their gearbox. It's never a good start to a Grand Prix when right off the bat you have to contend with a grid penalty.
Fingers crossed that's one failure they won't have to worry about today at least.
So now let's have a look at the starting grid ahead of this Mexican Grand Prix. It's not just Lewis Hamilton that faced grid penalties this afternoon. Many people in the top 10 have penalties because Fernando Alonso is on pole position, surprisingly, in the Renault. Alongside him is Nico Hülkenberg. In third place then is myself from P6 to P3 with Hamilton in P4 then with the penalty. Ricciardo in P5, Leclerc up into P6, Verstappen P7, Brent Hartley P8, Valtteri Bottas P9 with Esteban Ocon P10, my championship rival Pierre Gasly down to P11 with his penalty. Then the other Toro Rosso, Sergio Perez, Carlos Sainz, Sebastian Vettel, Sergei Sropkin next with Lance Stroll, Romain Grosjean, Kevin Magnussen and Kimi Raikkonen rounding out the grids for the Mexican Grand Prix. So Lewis Hamilton, Pierre Gasly and Carlos Sainz all get grid penalties, so that really shakes up the grid then, and somehow I ended up in P3 on the second row. I was so surprised when the game loaded up and I was here in P3, but I'll take it. Gasly outside the top 10, but we know that Red Bull's going to be strong, so let's not get complacent about it, and let's actually take this opportunity by two hands and really make the most of it here as we go to 5 red lights then. Fernando Alonso on pole position as we go to the 5 red lights from the second row of the grid now. There, 5 red lights are out and we're underway. It's an okay start for us. A better one, though, from Hamilton. We get swamped by Hamilton on the right-hand side there. Hülkenberg also an okay one. Alonso's got off well from pole. Leclerc, our teammate's gone to the inside. We're going to cover off the McLaren and Ricciardo. And I think that's Verstappen's Red Bull into turn 1. We go. Yellow flags behind, and the safety car has been called out straight away. I didn't even make it through to the middle of turn 1. And the yellow flags are out, and the safety car is out. And there's been a huge domino effect there on the minimap because a lot of people have slowed up. So I wonder who's out this Grand Prix. There's only 19 runners now, so someone's crashed out. I think I saw a Red Bull ghosting, so I don't know if Gasly or Verstappen got held up here. It was a Williams car that had the tyre broken off, but in doing so, there was a domino effect of a lot of cars being hit by that Williams car, and that, I think it was one of the Red Bull cars of Gasly, maybe, that got hit by the Williams, and so Gasly hit someone else, and there was just a ricochet effect of many people hitting each other, and so Verstappen, I don't think he has damage, but Gasly definitely does there. You can see Verstappen, though, has lost a few positions, and he's behind a Ferrari car now. But if we go back to Pierre Gasly, I'm pretty sure on the right-hand side, his right-hand side, he's got end plate damage. Yes, he does. That is huge news for the championship there, as Gasly sustains major damage to his front wing, as the safety car now is going to come in on lap 3 after being out for 2 laps after turn 1. We go green again. It's a bad exit, though. Snap of oversteer, so Hamilton gets away from me, and Leclerc might just attack me into turn 1, so not what I need from my teammate when I'm in a championship fight. At the moment, a bit of a glitch there. Ignore the safety car symbol still staying up. It definitely is green flags here as Leclerc sends one down the inside and tries to overtake me. It's now into turn 1. We've got Alonso defending his position for P1 there as the two Mercedes cars attack him, and we just about defend our position against Leclerc. But huge news for the championship there is Gasly sustains damage, and that's not going to be good news for him because we go on now through this stint then. The Force India, Valtteri Bottas, is closing up on the Frenchman, and those are the two McLarens up ahead of Hartley and Ricciardo getting away from Gasly, and Gasly is going to get overtaken by the Finn down the inside of the hairpin in the middle of the stadium section, and that is going to be poor form, and that's going to be quite gutting right now. He's going to be pretty defenseless in that cockpit, Pierre Gasly is. So we go through the race order at the moment. It's Fernando Alonso that leads the way from Hülkenberg, Hamilton, myself in P4, Leclerc is in P5. Then you've got Esteban Ocon, the other Frenchman, the Toro Rosso, doing a better job right now, so he's the lead Frenchman in this race. And then the two McLarens, the Force India and Gasly, who you can see is struggling. He tried to maybe overtake Bottas there, and he's now got Verstappen for company right behind him because Verstappen has managed to get past Sergio Perez at his home Grand Prix then, and so the Dutchman has not sustained any damage from that. I think he actually ghosted into turn 1 when that collision happened with the Williams car, so Verstappen actually got very lucky by the game mechanics, otherwise he would have sustained damage as well, I imagine. And so Gasly's the only real big one that kind of came away from that crash with damage, because it wasn't really a crash with him, obviously. The Williams car just came in with no tyre and tapped him into someone else. But we go into turn 1 then, still trying to do the job. Tyres, though, are going off. We're going to pit this lap, my engineer said, on lap 7. So a little bit early, but trying to get an undercut, remember, as the undercut is pretty powerful around Mexico. I'm going to go into another set of ultra soft tyres there, and then go ultra to the end of the Grand Prix with another set later on in the Grand Prix. But you got yellow flags behind, and another safety car gets called out there. 2 safety cars in the span of 7 laps then. Very chaotic Grand Prix then this is at Mexico. And so right on cue, actually, on the lap I was going to pit in anyway. My engineer told me to. I can confirm the pit stop there. And it's because of this then. It's something to do with the 2 Red Bull cars. Dare I say, could there be something wrong for Gasly as Verstappen has overtaken his teammate there. So Gasly down to, I think this is P8 now at the moment here for the Frenchman. So very poor form for the championship rival of mine. But Verstappen has an engine failure, and Gasly taps him and breaks even more of his front wing. And so it's a calamity for Red Bull. It's a Red Bull civil war of sorts, and it's a catastrophe for Red Bull there. So one, Verstappen DNF'd out the Grand Prix. That caused a safety car, but you saw there, eagle-eye viewers, if you saw close enough, Gasly tapped the back end of Verstappen and lost the other side of his front wing end plate there. So he lost the right-hand side in the lap 1 crash, and he lost the left-hand side with Verstappen now. Obviously, he can pit now under the safety car just like me, and he does so. So Gasly will lose some time, maybe changing his front wing. Leclerc definitely has lost some time because we double-stacked that, so that's a bit unfortunate for Charles. But of course, I was the lead man, so I was always going to come in anyway. He just decided to double-stack with me, so he's lost a heap of time double-stacking behind me under that safety car pit stop there, as we now move on to lap 9. As we restart then, we're in P7, so we've lost positions to Ricciardo and Esteban Ocon, because if you were paying attention enough during the pit stop replay cameras there, I actually got held up because these guys had faster pit stops. So we lost 3 positions here because there's also a Williams car in there, I believe, a Lance Stroll, who did not pit under the safety car. And Gasly actually saying that, you know, I said he might have lost some time with the front wing off and changing that in the pit stop. He's actually only 3 positions or 2 positions behind me right now, because other people got held up in the pit lane. So maybe a blessing in disguise. We go around the outside to the inside then of Ricciardo, up into what is now P6, Ocon P5, Stroll in P4. A little bit of a love tap on the exit because Ricciardo tries to keep his nose in there, but I had the corner. I gave him all the room I could on the exit there, and you can see briefly as I look behind me, you saw the nose cone of a Red Bull Honda, and that is actually Gasly. Gasly is just behind Ricciardo here, and so Gasly has gone from having a calamity at lap 1, having half a front wing broken off, then a second half broken off, but then the second safety car and the pit stop has completely brought him back into this Grand Prix, because he's now only 2 positions behind me, and he's got a completely fixed car. So actually it's going to be flipped back on its head, and Gasly's basically gained back all the luck he didn't have in lap 1, and lap 7 is now Lance Stroll has been overtaken by Ocon there. This is for position, remember, no blue flag, so I have to try and overtake Lance Stroll legitimately here at the moment. He's obviously gone long and is not pit yet. Obviously Williams a bit lower down the grid, so they're trying something different here, but I can't actually catch him in the acceleration zone here, and so this might be a bit frustrating. I have a look to the inside there, just kind of let him know that I'm there in the mirrors, but I don't have the absolute braking power to dive one down the inside. I tried to attempt a little dive around the outside, but it doesn't work actually, to my surprise. The Williams car carries enough speed. Ricciardo is at the moment not sticking with me, but now we're going to get hit with a huge amount of dirt here. Look how much more downforce I have than this Williams car, but because, like I said, Sector 2 and Sector 3, it's so hard to overtake when you don't have that space there and dirty air. It really is almost like Monaco or Hungary in Sector 2 and 3, because we go around the outside and the Williams car is still holding us up, and we only just about now in the stadium section managed to overtake him there, but in doing so Ocon has gained so much time and he's already waltzed away in P4, but we're effectively nearly back to where we were. Just need to try and catch Ocon and then we'll be there, but Stroll definitely a bit of a thorn in our side. But for now, Alonso still leads the Grand Prix then, even after those 2 safety cars, then the 2 Mercedes cars of Hülkenberg, Hamilton, then you've got Esteban Ocon in P4, like I said, myself in P5, and at this stage by now on these replay cameras, Ricciardo and Gasly have managed to overtake Lance Stroll, so they're kind of released. But yeah, you can see Gasly only 2 positions behind me now, whereas previously, before that second safety car, he was 5 positions back with a front wing damage. So the second safety car has actually completely brought him back into this. So before you call you know, bad luck for him and good luck for me, it's kind of been brought back a little bit, and karma's kind of balancing everything out in this Grand Prix so far. And now we move on to watching Ocon somehow overtaking Hamilton. So that Toro Rosso car has got some crazy speed, or just Ocon has some crazy speed right now, and is pulling that Toro Rosso into some lofty heights, because he's now in a podium position. Meanwhile, Gasly has overtaken Ricciardo, and so Gasly now is directly behind me on the Grand Prix circuit. So a bit of a mad roller coaster ride Gasly has had so far, as we now move on to lap 19 this is, and it's now getting sunny. We're now over halfway through this Grand Prix then. Hamilton has actually already pit in for a pit stop, so that's why Ocon is in P3. I'm in P4 now, as it's Hülkenberg in P2 and Alonso yet to pit in P1, but we're closing it up now to the Frenchman. So Ocon had some great pace before, but now he's going a little bit slowly, but he's going a bit too slow as we enter the stadium section. He really holds me up there. You saw he got very defensive, but then went too wide into the right-hander, and so held me up massively here. And so I'm looking behind me, and Gasly's just gaining on us. And so eventually, if I'm not careful, Ocon could be backing us up into Gasly. I'm not saying anything, not saying conspiracy theories, but remember, Toro Rosso is the junior team of Red Bull. But also saying that, remember, in real life, Ocon and Gasly don't actually like each other very much, so I doubt Ocon would ever kind of help Gasly in a championship fight. But there you go, we go down the inside and have to make the move on our own and get the job done by ourselves to overtake the Frenchman, and now we continue on, whereas Ocon and Gasly will come in on that next lap for a pit stop then, so they're going to come in. We're actually going to continue on for 2 more laps because these guys are going to go on to a set of super soft tyres eventually. I'm going to go and plan to go on a set of ultras because it's the faster tyre, obviously, and I only need to stretch these ultras 2 laps to go to another set of ultras, whereas if I pit now, I have to go to supers to be safe, and I just don't want that because the super softs, they may be durable, but they're not really great race tyres. So that's what I've done. We go to lap 22. I'm going to come in now for another set of ultras, and hopefully, fingers crossed, Ocon and Gasly hit a bit of traffic, and my lap times of the in-laps weren't too bad, that I stay ahead of Ocon and Gasly, or at least Gasly. That's the main contender. Don't mind if I actually get behind Ocon. We can try and re-overtake him, but as long as I have track position on Gasly, that is the important thing, obviously, for the championship right here. And thankfully, on that second pit stop, no one is there to kind of hold us up this time, so we won't lose any time in the pit lanes. We now go down the exit and we look on the right hand side and see where the cars are. That's a Mercedes car, and there is the Toro Rosso of Esteban Ocon then coming down the main pit straight as we just exit the pit lane. We're side by side just about into turn 1. He's behind us for now into the apex though, and Ocon though comes round and actually taps us there. He gets very aggressive and makes some contact, gets the elbows out, and he's ahead of us just by an inch there into P4. Got very aggressive there, and so we're down to P5, but ahead of Gasly crucially. But like I said, Ocon and Gasly both on super soft tyres, so only a matter of time before we close up to Ocon once again. But again, like he did before in this right-hander corner, he holds us up massively. But this time to the point where Gasly now is well in the camera shot and nearly right up our gearbox here. And I'm pretty much pushing Ocon through these last 2 corners here. So I need to try and overtake a bit of a snap of oversteer there for me. And so Gasly is going to also have DRS here. So we're going to look nervously behind me as well a little bit there. You can see the Frenchman closes up there. So I'm getting a little bit nervous here. I need to try and keep patient and overtake Ocon here. We eventually close up and find some speed, but not quite to turn 1. Ocon with some great defensive braking, to be fair to him, and we lock up into turn 1, and we're actually put off so much in the second corner, and we didn't have a great exit there. Gasly now has a good chance to pop one around the outside. We go defensive to the inside. We completely get the braking wrong, lock up badly on the left-hander into the right-hander. We're now neck and neck, side by side through the first stadium section here at Mexico through the double right-hander, and so it's all going a little bit wrong for me. Got very flustered after the initial few corners into lap, and made a mistake there, so we just about managed to recover that mistake and stay ahead of Gasly. And so on lap 25 we have another chance to overtake Ocon, and surprise surprise, for the 3rd time now, Ocon is so slow through that right-hander, but I just don't get the right racing line here to overtake him. I should learn from my mistakes, but alas, I can't do that right now. And so we go through the last few corners, and again trying to size up a move on this main straight, but again Gasly will also be right there for the takings. We got a yellow flag there for a car that is stricken on the left, but again, nervous times as Gasly closes up, but I close up on Ocon equally so. On to lap 26 to the inside there, DRS open, down the inside. This time though, a lot later on the brakes, across the apex basically, trying to scrub off speed, and we're up into P4 now ahead of Ocon, and we finally made that overtake work for us. Although I should probably say only for now, as we move on to the end of the lap, on to lap 27 now, 9 laps to go in this Grand Prix, and Ocon is closing back to us with DRS. We've got no one obviously ahead of us to help us out there in that department, so we go very defensive to the inside there, trying to break the toe and then come back to the racing line, try and squeeze the Frenchman to the left, but he's really good through these turns. That Toro Rosso is so slick so far in this Grand Prix, but we just about managed to send one to the inside there to keep P1, but that compromised our exit, and so Ocon now has a chance to go around the outside now. Gasly right up our chuff, as well as the McLaren of Ricciardo there, and Ocon just about chops off our nose at the apex and allows Gasly to send one to the inside. And so it's basically again we're side by side through that double right-hander. This time though I'm on the outside, he's on the inside, as we go to the next, then fast left and then right. It's about who has the bigger balls there to keep the foot in, and I just about managed that. And so we move back onto the back end of Ocon on lap 28 now, in the same place this time in the end of Sector 2 onto that infamous right-hander that he's held us up at 3 times. This time, though, I have different ideas. We're on the left-hand side. We're going to brake early here and cut into the inside. Real tight on the apex there. He goes wide like he has done 3 times before. This time, though, 4th time lucky. That's not a thing, but 4th time lucky. I learned from my mistakes. Brake early, cut in early, and make that move stick. And we're up into P4. And now we'll try and waltz away from the Frenchman, break the toe on the main straight, and try and get away from him with overtake mode and rich mix. He's going to have DRS once again, but again, we'll go defensive to the inside. And this time, we're going to be very much no Mr. Nice Guy, and basically make sure we shut off this move that he's going to try and make. He tries it on the outside, but we completely shut that off. He's nowhere near us now in turns 2 and 3. We'll push away through that apex. Good exit this time, unlike the last time there. Hot lap mode engaged. Rich mix. He's going to try and close up, but as we enter the second sector, he dives down the inside, but we're going to have a swoop round the outside to the inside, then really scrub off the speed, open up the steering wheel, and go wide on purpose across to the curb on the left-hand side there and squeeze him out. And we're up into P4, and we're going to stay in P4 for now and get away from him in this next sector. And so, to the end of the Grand Prix, then I get away from Ocon. It's really a battle of the 2 Frenchmen, and Gasly desperately trying to overtake his fellow countryman, and actually junior team, remember, Toro Rosso, to try and get some crucial points here. Remember, that'll be the difference of 2 points more gained in this Grand Prix, and those 2 points could make all the difference in the championship fights right at the end of the season. But Fernando Alonso is the one that wins the Mexican Grand Prix from Lewis Hamilton in 3rd place, Hockenheim P2, so 2-3 from Mercedes. We come home, though, in P4, ahead of Pierre Gasly to extend our championship by 2 points only, but it's still a good 2 points there. I will very much take that.
Nice work, you did well today. I think the boss will be happy with that one.
A great win then for the Renault team today. And I have to wonder, Anthony Davidson, just what set them apart from the competition here.
Well, they played the safety car to absolute perfection. There are so many factors to worry about once the race is neutralised. I mean, do you pit for fresh rubber? Do you have the space behind you? How much fuel can you save? If you answer all of those questions correctly, you'll have a good chance. And that's exactly what happened today.
So a very good Grand Prix for us here at the Mexican Grand Prix. Like I said, the next episode is Sao Paulo, the Brazilian Grand Prix. That I can guarantee you Gasly will beat us, because that's just how Brazil goes. Brazil is such a tough race against the AI. I've hardly ever won against my rivals at Brazil. I think the only time I've done that is maybe season 5 in the Ferrari, if I try and jog my memory there. But Brazil's always been a very tough one, so he needed this 2 points here to extend the lead to 9 points, because I have a big feeling Gasly will be on the podium and on the pace there at Brazil. It'll take a big miracle and probably the biggest amount of luck I've ever had on the F1 game if I beat Gasly at Brazil. If I beat Gasly somehow at Brazil, you can say in the comments all you want about how much luck I get, but right now we're doing the driving job, we're doing the strategic job right now, and we're pulling all the stops to try our hardest against what is probably been one of the toughest challenges so far in this career mode, because this car is not quick, and the Red Bull car is very much quick, and we just somehow keep on pulling out these performances just out of pure will, and obviously a bit of good strategic driving with the safety car and pit stops there. And so we also take a lead in the constructors as well, as you saw. So good stuff there for the team with Verstappen out that Grand Prix. But 2 more races to go, 9 points ahead Gasly, but both Brazil and Abu Dhabi, to be fair, are going to be tough races against AI cars and against Pierre Gasly in the Red Bull Honda. So it's all still to play for, in my opinion, strongly. So guys, if you did enjoy the episode, be sure to smash the like button. Let me know your thought in the comments below, and I hope you guys are ready for a very tense ending, last 2 races of this season. Till then, guys, hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye.